Hi, I'm Debbie Cullimore. I'm the Linden City Recorder. We want to welcome the Carl G. Maeser Academy, Preparatory Academy Global Debate team here tonight. They'll be doing a global debate on the resolution, resolved when in conflict, the UN should prioritize global poverty reduction over environmental protection.
Alright, so first of all, my opponents were talking about how the environment affects all. However, what you really have to look at is poverty is affecting all too. If 1 in 3 people are affected, how is that not affecting all people? Not only that, but there's no way to eradicate environment without getting rid of poverty. There's no other option. Because to fix the environment, it has to be a worldwide solution. And if 1/3 of the people aren't worried about it, how can we do that? Also, on their second point about the worsening effects and how 40% of deaths come from the environment. However, a lot of this is natural disasters and things like that. But 1/3 of all deaths are due to poverty. This is not right. We have to fix this right now. 50,000 people are dying per day. This is not right. We need to fix this, and we can do something right today by spending less than 1% of what the world spends on military. Also, they talk about how the United Nations is ineffective, yet they talk about how it's the United Nations' job to be able to help countries out who aren't able to be able to do it themselves. I think Africa is a perfect example of a country that has a global problem of poverty, yet they as a country aren't able to help themselves out. And they say that they already have enough, but if it's not enough if 1 in 3 people are still in poverty. This is not enough for the world. Also, they talk about solving environment, and however, there's no way to solve poverty without solving environment without solving poverty. Because as we talked about, we have to increase education and microloans. And a perfect example of microloans was that in Nepal, people living in poverty dropped by 42% 8 years due to microloans. There's no way to get people out of a poverty cycle without education. We have to educate those people to get them out of this poverty cycle, to be able to stop. Over 53 million people in developing countries soon will be enslaved in poverty unless we can do this today. And also terrorism and drugs are started in these countries. And if we could have stopped 9/11 by stopping poverty, would we have done that? The answer is clearly yes. And are we really going to step behind a dying baby who's dying in front of us to be able to go and plant a tree? The answer is no. Please vote for helping poverty.
As a brief all-time roadmap, I will go over my opponent's case before going over my own. They mentioned that we would be helping more people with poverty, but in reality, their 13% is not as big as our 40%, and we are all affected by environment. At this moment, we are breathing in air, and if our pollution were to get any worse, then we would be breathing in pollution, which would lead to lung cancer and other diseases. And it is where 80% of all diseases come from. And 3 times as many people die from environment than poverty. So we need to save the majority and vote for help the environment. And they said that if we were to educate them, that it would give them jobs so that they may be able to sustain themselves. But we would run out of jobs and people would still be in poverty, so there's no way to completely eliminate poverty. And they mentioned that if we were to give 1% of the military fund to poverty, it would eliminate poverty. But once again, you can't completely eliminate poverty. The standard would always change. And but you could do the same thing with environment. If you were to give 1% of the military fund to environment, it would also drastically help the environment. And they also stated that we would have to help poverty in order to help environment. But by helping environment, we will be helping poverty, therefore we will be able to help both things at the same time. Whereas just helping poverty, we would not be helping environment nearly as much as we would be helping poverty in our case. And with microloans, we would not, people do not always pay these back, and please extend my points, and if you want to help everyone in the entire world, then please vote for the environment.
You need to vote for poverty, because voting for poverty is saving the 25,000 children dying every day. You need to vote for poverty because 1 out of every 3 people are in poverty. You can save all of these lives, the 55,000 people dying every single day. By voting for poverty, we are trying to stop terrorism and drugs, as we have said that 90% of opium comes from Afghanistan, which is the 2nd poorest nation in the world. If we help people get out of poverty, then we can lessen the drugs coming into America and all the other countries, and we can help all of these people. Along with giving out microloans and educating the people, we can save all of these people and help them to better their lives and be able to pull themselves out of poverty with almost no cost. Also, there's the domino effect, and please vote for poverty.
People percent are in poverty today according to our opponents. And if we were to compare that to the environment, where 40% of deaths come from the environment, it's a higher percentage. Like we said in our framework, that has to be flowed over because they didn't even counter argument. We have to consider that we have to help the majority here. In order for a society to function, we need to focus on the majority. We understand that there's 25,000 kids dying every day, but if we don't save the environment, there's going to be millions and millions of generations after that dying. And not only that, but every organism that has ever been, and every animal, that's going to be gone. And so they offered a great ideal counterplan, but except they didn't counter the fact that there's going to be debt. They gave one example of microloans, but we need to look at all these other nations and how debt is just going to accumulate so over time. And we also need to look that the environment is worsening. They say we can help the poverty today and help the environment later. The environment is not always going to be there later. It's going to get worse and worse until that's yeah. Please vote in environment.